It is the 29th of April, 2021. I'm Commander Jay on Tracks, and this is the Loose Screws podcast. Kick the pig, I was told to say. That's good. That's good. I like that. So on this episode, we're going to have Odyssey says, okay, fine, you can have all your ships, but don't stray very far. And we'll even let you play a little bit longer, but you're playing on old code. There's a new machinima web series. A commander travels over 84,000 light years with no fuel scoop. And some community questions. Yay, hooray. Okay, I'm super late and I made all these guys stay up for me, and so I feel bad, and I'm going to push through. So joining me tonight, I apologize to you for being late, Commander Chig.
Hi, how are you?
Late.
Yes,
Commander Dubs, I apologize to you for being late.
Yes, Daddy Tracks.
God, I don't like that. Commander Lieutenant Commander Data, I apologize to you for being late.
We will never forgive you, but hello.
And Commander Nurgle, I apologize to you for being late.
Okay, yeah.
Wake up. Wake up,
Wake
Nurgle.
up.
This is going smoothly tonight.
It's going so good. Is there any exciting stuff that you guys have been doing? What's been going on with you, Chig? What's up, man?
Yeah, CQC. I broke my Verpal stick today.
What?
Huh? What?
I figured that would get
Quickly
a reaction.
What?
That's why I wanted Ty here, because he said was that the day that he ordered
Today,
Verpal?
yeah.
Yeah, he ordered it today, and I was flying CQC earlier, and all of a sudden it man, my stick went limp.
A spring let go.
My yaw spring went to the left on the stick. I tried pulling it apart, mounting the stick, doing everything else, and definitely broke a spring in it or something, because it still has some tension yaw to the right, but to the left there's no tension. I can still yaw, and at first, I was in the middle of a match, so it was like panic at first. I'm like, what is going on? It's broken. And I quit fighting. I was dismounting the stick, and then the match got over. Then after it was done, I couldn't get it fixed. And then I hopped back in game just to see if it's still registered yaw to the left, and it still registers. There's just no tension at all. But I actually kind of think I like it that way. I already put in a ticket to Verpal, but But I without that, the yaw it's an aggressive yaw on this. It takes a good amount of force to move left or right. And now all of a sudden there's not that force, but I can still feel the middle detent, in the yaw. So I don't know. I kind of like it this way. But I like the product so much too. This is how much I like my Verpal stuff. When the yaw went on it, you can lock the yaw out. I actually was like, oh crap, I'm going to have to get myself some yaw pedals instead of thinking about putting in a ticket and having them fix it. I was just going to buy pedals, but no, I can fully function with it right now. But yeah, Ty, you just spent a shit ton of money on something, and yes, mine just broke. But I'm not normal use case either, I don't think. I do so much CQC, it's constant dogfighting. So, there's no casual
I
flying.
bet that's a pretty freak thing, though. And it's just the spring, sounds like.
Yeah, and if I would just take it apart and see what that spring looks like and see what happened, but I don't want to void any warranty or anything. I don't know if they've, what kind of assembly is in it. So I'm not going to do anything until they notify me.
I think they are cool with that, though, because don't they sell like alternate cams and stuff?
Well, that's all in the bases.
You have to pop the springs off.
The bases fully come apart, and you can pull the
yaw is
apart.
Not in the base.
No, the yaw is in the actual stick.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a different animal. So, but that's my story. That's my week.
Makes me sad.
Work.
Dubs, you're next. Do your worst.
What have I been up to? Not breaking my stick. That's what I've been up to. I played a surprising amount of Minecraft recently, trying to get the server squared away, but that's not what this is about.
No, that's fine.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is literally the put anything you want in this part of the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm now in the new alpha, if that matters, but I've been in it for like 5 minutes, so we'll see where that goes. The Corvette is gigantic, by the way, and it's amazing. I love it.
Technical term there.
That's an imperial
no.
measurement.
Gigantic.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
an imperial.
That is a very imperial measurement. Other than that, I don't think I've done anything noteworthy. Just been kind of existing and playing games.
Well, you almost crapped
Okay.
yourself to death.
I mean, I got very, very sick in the middle of our last D&D session, which was very unfortunate. I had to bail on the boys. But
So
stuff
Teflon's
happens.
DMing made you sick
that
to your
reminds-
stomach, huh?
That
Yeah.
reminds me, your character died after you left.
Oof.
R.I.P.
Big yikes.
Gregor.
I'm sorry, Gregors. I will
He'll be
avenge you.
Cool. Lieutenant Commander Data, what's up, man?
Hey, I've had a little bit of playtime this week. I logged into the new alpha about an hour ago. Played through it on Foot Combat Zone. Nice having all my money, so I can, like Dubs and I were just talking about before we hit record, you can just go through and buy everything. All the handheld weapons and all the suits.
Yes,
It's
that
nice
is
not having to worry about
beautiful.
Just
Instead of
casually buy
working-
everything.
Yeah.
Instead of working hard for all the things, like, man, which weapon do I buy first? This one's kind of expensive. Now I'm like, look, lady, I got too much money to look at the price tags. Just give me
Yeah.
everything.
Buy. Yeah.
Looking for the
And-
button that says buy one of everything. Yeah.
And it's been a long time since I've done this, but the other night, you and me and Dubs, I think, just had a good old-fashioned bounty hunting night in a local Hazres site to help the BGS
yeah.
and just have some fun in some small ships. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Small ship
Yes,
gang.
our couriers are extremely murderous.
Yes.
It's
That's
like a
been
pack of piranhas.
That's been my
Mhm.
time this week.
Cool.
That's our new courier gang name, by the way. Piranha Pack.
Okay, we can do that. Nurgle, what's up, man? I haven't talked to you in at least a week.
Yeah, it's been a long week. I think I've had about 2 hours total of screen time. My mother-in-law had emergency surgery last week. She's doing fine. They sent her home from the hospital today, but they live about 45 miles away from my wife and I, and while they don't actually farm anymore, they lease out most of the land. They've got like an acre of their own they farm. The father-in-law has bad hips, so between me, my wife, and her sister, we've been going over there and taking care of animals and taking care of family and then sleeping and getting up the next day and doing it all over again. And the irony is, Chig's talking about breaking his verbal. The one time I got to sit down this week and play Tuesday night, my HOTAS died. So,
Y'all
Oh my
need to be
God.
more gentle on your equipment.
but I'm taking this as a positive because I've been using a Thrustmaster HOTAS X forever. It's been a great stick. I've enjoyed using it. I've actually put off upgrading to something else because why spend the money if the one I'm using is working fine for me? So now I have a perfectly valid reason to go out and get an X56.
So now you can actually learn how to fly. Good.
Thanks, man.
Welcome.
Love you.
You're welcome.
The problem now is going to be finding one somewhere that's not $500.
The problem now is you're going to get addicted to upgrading, and then you're going to look at those Verpals even harder.
Oh no, I'm
Mhm.
already looking at the Verpals. I just know that's out of my current price range.
Ah,
That's about where I was with it. Ended up with the X56. As much as I'd love to go further, I'm sitting on this for now.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have a 3080, so the price range thing, you just chose a graphics card over a Odyssey setup. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And if I
Well,
went out and bought a Verpal, then I would have a HOTAS that costs more than my PC, and I can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
Truth.
No, I just need a 3090 to make me feel better about my HOTAS not costing more than my graphics card.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into some show stuff. Oh, I didn't say. Well, okay. You know what I've been doing? I've been trying to set up my new streaming stuff, and I did actually use for the first time my actual 2-computer streaming setup on Tuesday. Whenever we had that our very fun bounty hunting night, and it works pretty well with some caveats. But anyway, just endless wrangling of things, and then today I was like continuing to tweak my lighting. I never thought I would be thinking about stuff like this. But I don't know, streaming's really fun, so I keep doing it, and then I keep wanting to like make things better about it, and it's another endless thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping more heavily into that once I have the time here in a couple of weeks. So I'll be picking your brain for sure. But my question, you're saying you're doing a 2-computer setup. What's the second computer you're using? I mean, you've got your beast for gaming. What are you using as your stream box then?
It's my MacBook Pro.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's the second most powerful computer in the house. It's fine. The CPU runs rings around the encoding that I need it to do. It's actually the graphics in that have trouble actually compositing the scene. So when I'm on Twitch, like I have like animations and stuff that play for subscribers and followers and stuff like that. That stuff is what kills the Mac. But it can encode all day long. Like I got a capture card and stuff like that. I need to add another audio input because I'm not quite satisfied with the way that's working out. But yeah, the capture card is beautiful. The 3080, as powerful as it is, I'm running VR and streaming, and I can feel a significant difference now that the 3080 is not having to do anything in the background besides play the game. It's duping off to a second monitor, which is actually the capture card, and then everything else is happening elsewhere. And it was really fun to play and have it not be sort of. It's not that it like ran badly when I was streaming before, because you can do the onboard encoding on the GPU, but it was just sort of like, I don't know, the frames felt crispy or something. They just had this weird feeling to them, which you can only see in VR. It's a strange thing, but anyway, yeah, that's me. So, what do you say we talk about this game and let's start with squad briefing? Yes, okay. Wonderful.
Incoming priority message. Squadron briefing.
Right. Not a lot actually going on right now. We've got 2 elections in progress in non-critical systems. We've got 1 system in expansion, which should go off sometime between Saturday and Monday, depending on random numbers. And we know exactly where that's going. It's going to an open system in LTT 17156. So we're just spending time consolidating the remnants of player beef and HIP 4907, trying to force a retreat and trying to work some things that some systems that we've had kind of languishing for a while to get up there and take control and get them solidified. So fairly calm for a change.
Wow. All right. I guess.
Okay, so the squadron briefing that we just got. I just logged into that alpha here and disembarked from my Corvette in the station. Now, they didn't want you to have to walk through the ship because it would be tedious. But when you're on the platform in the docking bay, you come out at the front of the Corvette and you got to run the entire length of the Corvette to get back to the elevator.
300 yards.
Your squadron briefing was over before I ran that.
Because somebody was late, I'm trying to be efficient.
Yeah. I'm having the same issue. Well, I just had my crate is the one I picked up. By the way, it changed my paint color. Anyway, whatever. I don't care. But I'm just saying, my paint is just like blue now when it used to be something else. But anyway, these ships are enormous.
Add real quick that since we're trying to build our influence in HIP 4907, There is currently an outbreak going on in HIP 4907, which means the prices for all the medicines have gone way up, so you can make a lot of money while you're helping the BGS. And outbreak tends to spawn some nice high-grade emissions where you can conceivably get the they don't exist pharmaceutical isolators.
Nice. Has anybody actually collected those in the wild?
Once.
Off of like elite anacondas, I've gotten them to drop.
I have
really?
got them off an HGE, yes.
I have done that exactly one time. I found pharmaceutical isolators.
Yep, exactly once for me too.
Yep. I think that's it. It cuts off after that, actually.
Yeah, that's the one. It's a flag. You do it once, you'll never find them again.
Everybody gets one. All right. Thanks, Nurgle, for that amazing squad update. I'm truly not making fun of you. I just realized how stupid that sounds. Anyway, so the next thing on my list is the Galnet Recap. Now, Devolooter's not with us tonight, and we were discussing right before I pushed record if any of us have paid any attention to Galnet. And I think that unfortunately the answer is no. So do you want me to just make it up as I go, or what do we want to do?
All right, we can give a real quick brief summary here. So our bro Archon Delaney, he's going to get some new starports. Aegis is collecting more Guardian artifacts so they can develop some new Guardian weapons and modules. Maybe that was a community goal that just completed. Hadrian Duval's being accused of being an NMLA leader. He has refuted that claim, of course.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, he didn't just admit to it, you know.
That's surprising.
I was actually surprised by the first part, but that's fine too.
Tune in to our Bard's Lore Corner Discord channel if you want to see our friend Commander J Baron give his take on all these things too. He's the one to follow on all this Galnet news.
And it's been running wild this week.
Yep. And ending today with the current CG, you can support or oppose the Federation's effort to reenact Tom Cruise's Minority Report.
That's exactly
Surveillance initiative. By supporting Zach Hudson or Shadow President Winters by delivering data materials to their respective systems. What is a Shadow? What is a Shadow
delivery?
President? That's my question. Is that like a
Shadow's the
minority party leader or a vice president? What does that even mean?
I don't believe I've ever heard the term outside of the game. I don't know.
Wow, I've often wondered this, and I never had the courage to ask.
You are not alone.
So we're all in the same boat.
I know exactly what it is, but I'm going to let you guys.
There's no grown up in the room that knows everything.
Wow.
The first thing in Google is a video game.
I think I always assumed that it meant like an opposing party or something, like or maybe a quasi-exiled leader or something like that. I don't know.
I thought it would be like the person in charge that wasn't, known to be in charge. So the fact that it's like, hi, I'm the Shadow President kind of defeats that theory. So,
so from what I've gathered in the last 60 seconds of Google, it is someone who holds a lot of sway over the opposing party of the current president.
Okay, so it is sort of like a minority leader kind of deal.
Yeah, like it's not an official position, but they're like, hey, I'm still going to make your life hell.
Nice. Okay.
There you go. Figured it out.
Great.
I don't know. I might be wrong. Don't believe me. Like this is literally just what I read on the page of Google. So from different posts.
No, it's set in stone now. I'm going with that.
That's
forever.
Yeah.
All right. I'm submitting that definition to the Webster's Dictionary, boys.
Update the Wikipedia page.
The
All right.
Wikipedia page on Shadow President is talking about a video game from 1993.
Huh.
Well, now.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
I think
So it's not an
Nurgle was
official
in his
term.
40s in 93.
Oh, jeez.
Yikes.
Okay. Thanks, Data, for fixing our mistakes and making this podcast possibly worth a damn. Now, so here's what's been going on in, I don't know, community development news kind of situation. Okay, so there was a live stream on Tuesday. I did not manage to catch this live, but caught up with it a few hours later in replay. Because I went to the dentist, by the way. I guess I probably should have put that at the top of the show. My vaccine is cleared now. I'm like officially vaccinated, and I immediately just like wandered into a dentist office and opened my mouth near a stranger.
Okay.
But it was fine. Anyway,
Outstanding.
Okay, Daddy.
Brave man.
glad to have gotten my teeth clean. Okay, so anyway, there was a live stream on Tuesday while I was at the dentist, and Piers Jackson, the game director, got interviewed, as well as Dr. K. Ross. And I kind of like we can just approach this as like a generalized discussion topic, I guess. But my takeaway from this was it's an awesome stream, and you should definitely watch the replay if you're interested in this game at all. But my whole thing, the whole time I was watching, was like, why didn't this happen? Like, most of this stream happened before the alpha or right at the beginning, because so much of it was, at least in the beginning, I guess, of Pier's part, but not, there was other stuff later when Dr. K was talking that would have changed how I thought about the alpha completely. Like, basically, the fact that the whole game that's in the alpha is a branch of the main code trunk, and it was actually taken considerably before the alpha even started. So like the game was in a further developed state than what we were seeing even from the very beginning of the alpha. And there are specific parts, it goes further on, like there's specific parts of it that were just turned off for the sake of they didn't want to mess with that part right now. They were testing other things. And all of this I felt like was really obfuscated from the players. And on the one hand, it makes me feel better because there's a bunch of stuff that it appeared to be bugs to us, but was really just intentionally switched off features. And then there's other aspects of it where it's just developed differently, and they were actually more far along on the main trunk versus the branch we were on, and all this stuff. And my head's swimming with like, do I feel better about it or do I feel worse now? Because like, why didn't they reveal that to me? I would have felt so differently, like knowing what was switched off and knowing the fact that I wasn't just meant to go in and test everything. They really were looking for specific things. So, okay. I'm rambling now. What did you guys think? Did any of you watch it?
I watched some of it.
I haven't made it through all of it yet, but I'm kind of where you are. This is information that would have changed how I felt about the alpha had I known it before I went in. I mean, I still would have done it. It wouldn't have changed my mind about buying the alpha or anything, but it would have changed my perception of what I was seeing. And I think since they were trying to test very specific things in each phase, I have a cat that's trying to freak out here. Knowing that they branched it off and that there were very specific things that they wanted to test, it would have made me actually act more like a tester and look at those specific things rather than just playing it like I'm going to talk about it on a podcast. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I the whole thing's just kind of weird to me, but I mean, I understand, like, finding out that, like on the mission boards, there wasn't distances to, how long the cab rides would be and stuff like that. That's stuff that they might not have, thought about until they got a bunch of players in there playing it. So I can see where they're going with that. But then again, we were all kind of under the impression that I just got interdicted by a real player. Huh.
Handle that.
Kill him. Yeah. So
Goodbye, Chig.
yeah, it was definitely different, and I'll let somebody else talk.
I think this is just another communication issue. They should have just settled this earlier. I wouldn't feel too badly about it if you took the approach that me and a few of us did of just, logging in to try out the new features. I'd feel really bad if I spent a lot of time in the issue tracking system inputting reports on bugs and stuff that might not even exist anymore. If you were actually trying to alpha test something, I'd feel pretty like I might have wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, like specifically, like, okay. I guess some of the stuff that was specifically switched off, Dr. K ends up talking about, like, graphically, people talked about how all the atmospheres that we can see tend to be sort of purple and hazy and some kind of grading of kind of a light purple. And yeah, they just didn't turn on most of the stuff that's going to change the color of the atmospheres based on what they're made of. That was just switched off. And like a lot of the complaints about performance and stuff like that, there was a big focus on that. I mean, obviously, and some of it is answered in the fact that they say, like, look, it's not optimized, but like you can say that all day long. I don't know what that means as someone who doesn't make video games. I know what it means, but I don't know, is that supposed to make me feel like, oh, we're going to be fine? Or is that like, yeah, but how much can it be optimized? Like I feel like there's a mystery here. And now Dr. K talks about how like a bunch of the occlusion systems are totally turned off just because they didn't feel like messing with that or something to that effect. So effectively what's going on, and I actually saw this in a YouTube video somewhere too, where somebody was kind of examining the code of the render engine. Like when you're approaching a settlement on the surface, it's drawing all of the interiors of all the buildings, even when you're like 1,000 meters away in a ship. So that's the kind of like things that should have been occluded, right? So that your game doesn't have to render all that stuff, but they weren't bothering. They're just having it draw absolutely everything. And like that affects terrains and causing like weird pop in and all kinds of things like that. Like just tons of stuff is actually working a lot better than what we've seen, but they don't tell us that. And I know that one of the other points they made is that there's stuff here that they were holding back on purpose. You know, they didn't turn on all of the pretty graphics because they still want an ooh and ah moment when they release the game. And that's great. I just wanted to know, like I mean, I knew there wasn't the entire game here, but like when they said, like when they described phase 4 just started, I mean, I guess we'll talk about this a little more a little later, but they said like, this phase is really just about compatibility. It's about what's going to happen when we import everybody's real life existing characters into the game. And that's more or less the only thing they're paying attention to. So they're like watching us play. They're watching streams, they're listening to comments, and I think they're also like watching game data as it comes through to the server and seeing what people do and taking those bug reports. Surely the bug reports would be better focused if we knew that we weren't supposed to send a bug report for all of the atmospheres are purple or something like that. And I mean, we discovered plenty of good things, the fire damage and things like that shooting through the walls, but a lot of that seemed to be going through like the ceilings and stuff. So that's the occlusion issue. There was a bunch of stuff about occlusion that wasn't turned on and it's causing fire, so some of that could have been fixed, right? Or at least we wouldn't have been yelling about it quite so much. And but on the other side of the coin, like that does make me go, realize, oh shoot, this is actually going to be a lot better off, because every phase I felt like the performance was better and the crashing was less. Did you guys feel that way?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Would you have pre-purchased to get access to the alpha if you would have known it was this kind of alpha?
I would have.
I would have
pre-purchased it literally no matter what.
I know.
Nothing you can say
this is the wrong audience, obviously.
Yeah.
What about you, Chig? That seems like a leading question that you meant to aim at yourself.
No, I was really just asking because it just, I don't know. It's so weird compared to other alphas how often do you get access to an alpha?
Yeah.
Really, it's usually a beta. And how often is the alpha ends 2 weeks before the game is released? There's usually a beta tasting phase after. So everything's just bizarre about it. So I'm just going to wait and see what comes out. If we take them at face value, all right, that's an interesting way of explaining things to us, and I'm okay with that. But they've got a whole lot of, I need to see it to believe it from them these days.
Yes.
I've wondered often why it's being called an alpha and how you could possibly fit a beta in between now and the real release. But today it makes a little more sense. We might be playing an alpha level build just because that's what they decided to give us. They've got further along builds that we're just not seeing yet, and we won't see until the game comes out.
We are going to go from alpha to finished product. And somewhere in their development, they've presumably going through an internal beta.
Maybe. I think this stream kind of revealed to me what an alpha means, and that was never explained. I mean, there was so much talk from everybody about when the pre-purchase went live, like, what is an alpha? Do they mean beta? Why are they calling it this? And there was no answer to that. And I thought that was strange. And now I'm seeing it going, yeah, well, if you had explained it like this, instead of just saying, this is unoptimized, it's not totally ready, we just want you to play with it and poke holes in certain things, like that wasn't enough. That didn't get me to where I wanted to, where I would have had a better time with it. Like, I felt a lot of the time I was frustrated. Like, I didn't play the alpha nearly as much as I expected to, because I would get in and go, I did like 2 conflict zones on foot in phase 2 or 3 or whichever phase that was. And I guess I'm done with this. I did one and it didn't work quite that well. I did another and there were players on the other side and basically we were stalemating really hard. So I left, did a third one and cleaned it up quite quickly. I was like, okay, well, I guess I see like the different levels of what's going on there, and didn't log back in again because it's just dealing with bugs. It was like whenever I call my ship back, the whole thing crashes. And it wasn't that much fun because of all that. I don't personally love to get in and just like deal with the random crashing and stuff. But I feel like if I knew that this isn't an up-to-date piece of the code, like in my head, like the branch that we were on would have been taken from day 1 of alpha phase 1. And then when we got to phase 2, they went back to the trunk and then took another branch. That's what I thought was going on. And they never like explicitly said that to me. Like, I guess it's my own imagination that made me think that, but they didn't tell me that wasn't what was happening. They never told me what an alpha was and why it was different from a beta. I can see now that it's got more to do with, we're really like narrowly testing certain things and we're only opening up certain parts of the game. And we go back to the fleet carrier beta and it was a full game. It was everything. Yeah. And it was like, come poke holes in this. Mm-hmm. There was nothing focused about that testing. It was everything. So I guess that's my thing. Like, I definitely would have still bought it if they'd explained it. And in fact, I would have felt a lot better while I was playing it. I wouldn't have had nearly as much kind of aches about. I think so much of my problem was kind of every time it crashed, I had this sinking feeling like, gosh, it really does seem like this needs to be further along than it is. And that was so much comments in Discord to that effect too. Shouldn't this be further along than it is? And it apparently was. I have no idea by how much, but apparently a lot. Thousands of fixes have happened to the trunk while we've been playing the alpha that we didn't ever see and still don't see, according to Piers.
Wait, how many comments were there about this doesn't feel like a game that's ready to go live in 2 weeks? Well, yeah.
It's like 90% of the words out of anyone's mouth for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, and well, clearly it's because we're not even playing the latest build.
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic we're going to get. I'm going to take them at face value. and we're going to get something reasonably polished. But I don't believe it. I really just, if there's a whole bunch of stuff they didn't show us and everything else, and they're light years ahead of where they were, there's been thousands of fixes. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, and
Fingers
now
crossed.
I'm not expecting gameplay changes and additions to be hugely significant. I'm expecting like the graphics to be less buggy and the movement to be less buggy and the controls to be less buggy.
but
Right? When
they
we
also
say thousands
said,
of fixes.
they also said there were things they intentionally held out because they wanted there to be surprises when it went live.
Yeah, Thargoids.
Well, but I mean, that's a lot of open speculation there about what that could be. I mean, that could be, well, we're pretty sure that we're going to have Thargoids, but that could be new gameplay loops. That could be Panther Clipper. That could be any number of things.
It could be. Yeah.
But thousands of fixes in the last 4 weeks. And yet in the main game, we still have bugs that have gone on for years.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
I mean,
Yeah,
CQC
I don't
still
think we had a lot of
crashes
people working
so
on that
often.
though.
Oh,
I think that's the thing though. Everybody was working on this.
Yeah,
Or
all hands
almost
on deck
everybody.
for Odyssey.
but
Okay, so in
this
the
is
stream,
being put into the other game, though. How is that all going to work together smoothly?
Well, in theory,
going
Odyssey
back to that.
That's the theory.
Yeah, that's the theory. Going back to that stream, like you can see some of the stuff that they're talking about as far as like the graphics stuff that they just didn't have switched on was on display in the form of screenshots in that stream. So that's worth looking at too, because there's a lot of like planet scenes where with everything switched on, the variety becomes very clear. And like the terrain is apparently all wrong now. Like none of the terrain we're seeing, which is great because like I remember that like kind of flying up to every planet, it was like it looked weird, it pops in weird, the textures flip all around.
But you're
Dr.
saying
K
they showed
just had everything turned
screenshots.
off.
Did these screenshots, were there any video clips of this, or these were just literal screenshots?
They're literally screenshots of different
with
essentially
Instagram
like
filters.
sunsets on different planets. No, I don't think it's that
taking it at face value,
cynical.
Sticking to it, taking it.
But they talked again about like I'll show you these things, but there are things we're holding. I mean, they're still not going to show us everything. Okay, but the things that they did specifically.
What would a little side-by-side video, this is what this planet looks like now, the new tech it'll look like this, and a 5-second clip, that's not showing us everything. That's just showing the improvement to set our minds at ease instead of just a prettier screenshot. I don't know. I taking it at face value, sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Go over with that.
Okay, so the things that... Oh, sorry, Nergal?
No, I was agreeing with you. Go on.
Oh, okay. The things, so Piers talked about the trunks and branches thing and how the alpha we've been playing was, even at the very beginning of phase 1, was already weeks old. So, whatever. They've also made significant improvements to AI behavior regarding stealth and changes to the way crime works. He talks about that at some length. And like grenades, NPCs will throw grenades onto roofs and behind cover, and they changed a lot about their swarming mechanics. The occlusion stuff goes into the awareness of NPCs.
It won't be so easy
stealth.
It won't be so easy to hide on a rooftop and kill all the NPCs from up there.
Right. However, it will be easier to steal things than it was, because now, like if you in the alpha, if you steal something and somebody scans you, you get caught. Now, in the way it really will work in the real game is you have to be seen stealing it. If it's already in your backpack, it can't be seen, so you're fine. So a lot of positive changes there, it seems. 9 new on-foot engineers for the suits and weapons. The weapon modifications will affect things like scopes, the speed of the draw of the weapon, magazine size, suppressors, and autoloader. And apparently the suppressors, there's a separate suppressor for a pressurized environment and a separate suppressor for a not pressurized environment. So that's interesting. I wonder how that would...
You really need a suppressor for a non-pressurized environment?
Thank you.
Well, I wonder if it's purely visual. I don't know. We'll see. I had the same question. Yeah, it's like, but there's no sound. Well, but the trouble is in the Elite game forever, we've had this lore that we have speakers in our cabins that recreate or simulate the sound outside to give us spatial awareness, situational awareness, I should say. Do our suits do that too? And at that point, like, why would a suppressor override my suit's ability to tell me when someone's shooting near me?
It hides the muzzle flash, so your opponent's suit's computer can't see that you're firing and generate the noise.
That's magnificent. That
You guys are asking
amazing.
too many questions. Somebody's going to show up at your door and make you stop.
Yeah. Dr. K came on in the second half and again talked about, of course, she's the principal render programmer on the game and talks about all the different stuff to do with the graphics, mostly the planet tech. Optimization that hasn't happened and will happen. Still a bunch in there that makes me feel simultaneously better and makes me wonder why I wasn't told some of those details before. Like, you don't have to reveal the screenshots to me. Just explain to me that, this stuff is intentionally switched off, and I would have felt so much better about the performance. Yeah, that's the gist of it. It is extremely worth watching. I'm being very trite about it right now, but I thought especially like the Dr. K segments and being able to see those screenshots is really, really cool whenever she talks about how she's implementing things. And like, there's a moment in the stream where she is asked a specific question about certain chemical compositions of atmospheres and certain colors. And it's like, yeah, well, there's realism to the point where it stops being a fun game. So that's where they want to draw the line, is we want to make things as realistic as we can, but also make it fun and pretty. So the variety of colors and things are actually exaggerated. So that's awesome. I like that. All right, that's Tuesday live stream. There was another one today. This is Thursday that we're recording. Mail Slot Mayhem. This one was totally different. This was a sports show. I think they did a fantastic job. Everybody put on a suit. They had judges, and they had everybody do mail slot stunts. A bunch of contestants from the community do mail slot stunts. It was tremendous fun, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. Did anybody catch it? It's a no.
That's a no.
No.
That's a no.
Yeah. Watched long enough to see everyone in their suits. And that's all I saw.
Yeah. One of the so yeah, they basically were doing FA off mail slot stunts. There were a few juicy explosions and some spectacular successes, including a cutter doing an in and out sideways. Very intense.
Yes.
Very intense. Anyway, yeah, they did it all like a sports show. It was really fun, complete with advertisement breaks, which were created by a person called Rendo, and I put a link to their YouTube channel in the show notes. They're really fun. There was like an ad for the Vulture and an ad for the Sidewinder, as if they were, car ads from our modern day culture, our current day culture. So really cool stuff. And it was extremely fun. The way they put it all together, in spite of the fact that it's very difficult to get a good camera angle on all this stuff.
So was it people from like the racing community doing this?
Various. They just took signups. There was somebody from, they said like, here's our next contestant. It's Commander so-and-so, and they are from Shinra to Desra. They represent this faction or this player group. They were, their favorite ships, whatever. And they had names for all the different maneuvers they were going to attempt. And, somebody tried one in a Type 9. The move they were doing was called the Slot Stuffer.
Nice.
They didn't make it.
Oh,
Go figure.
But that slot did get stuffed. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. And also there were Twitch drops on both of the streams. There are going to be Twitch drops on every stream from here until the launch of Odyssey. So I don't know. Put your Twitch alerts on, I guess, if you care about that stuff. Whew. Cool. Breathe. I knew it was going to be this kind of episode when we started. Okay, so Odyssey Phase 4 started. I just loaded into it as we were starting the show. I'm literally just standing in a station because I can't be bothered to do anything without getting super distracted. So I won't. However, here's the rundown on what's going on in Phase 4. It has been extended to May 5th from the original end date, because I think with the original end date, it was going to only run, Phase 4 might only take like 2 days, and that wasn't fun for anybody. So they extended it to May 5th. Originally it was going to be just the ship that you're in when they take the snapshot. They have reversed that decision, and now all of your ships are available, although there was a quick hotfix that needed to be pushed to get that working. They changed their minds from all of the galaxy being open to the same 50 light year bubble that was going on in Phase 3. However, we do have all our ships, but they are not including fleet carriers specifically because they figured that many fleet carriers moved into the 50 light year bubble that's allowed would be absolutely crazy. So they switched that off. Yeah.
Stress test or not? I mean,
well,
they don't have to
know
test
their
it,
system.
They know. Yeah.
Right. They know that would break. Fleet carriers are meant to be squeezed into 50
years bubble is a small area. That's just how big this game is.
That's right.
Just a mere 50 light years across. All right.
Okay, I put a link to the forum threads that go over what's going on in here. There is a bunch of fixes and a bunch of known issues, a long list of stuff. If you're playing the alpha, you should check those out so that you know what the known issues are, you know what fixes are, and you're not either reporting the bugs or not knowing what to look for and things like that. The following features have become available: wing missions and ship depot. Power play is on, tech brokers, search and rescue contacts, and research station services contacts. I actually don't know what that is. What is a research station services contact?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Is that a new alpha thing?
Help.
Is that like the gene scanner stuff?
Plant gun. I don't know.
Plant gun.
The one thing
Probably
I did notice today,
that would make sense.
On the mission board, there is a Thargoid mission type on the mission board. There's nothing available on it, but new mission.
No, we saw that
mission type
a phase or two ago. But yeah, it's one of the because the different categories of missions, right? Like combat versus support versus career. Or, I don't know.
Because you can view all the missions from all the factions now by type, or go into it by faction.
Yeah, I've really come to like that menu, actually.
That was an improvement. Yes, I'll agree.
Oh, and you can change your suit at the station terminal now instead of having to do it in a ship. That's a nice change.
Okay, right on.
That's not brand new. That was changed a little while ago. But yeah, that's nice.
Worth it.
In the station, running around, it seemed to be running smoother too than in the past, but I haven't played. I think I played a little bit in Phase 2. I didn't even log into Phase 3 once.
Right. I only logged in for a second. I was saying I was trying to check my FPS. It's hidden behind my status bar because of the way the windowed mode I'm in. Okay, never mind. I've noticed that the menus work a lot better, like the mouse input on menus. Although then I just said that and my cursor totally just disappeared. Okay, well, never mind then. Everything's still weird. It does seem to be performing better, and the menus, for the most part, are working better. I used to get a lot of like the cursor was disconnected from where it actually was highlighting. It was like off by a portion of screen space.
Well, that happens a lot. That happens a lot because you're on an ultra-wide monitor. It's a known issue with Elite Dangerous, especially in the Galaxy map and the system map. It's always been that way.
My cursor goes weird. Because that's funny because I never have used the mouse in this game at all.
Yeah.
Until Odyssey. Right?
Well, yeah, if you're in VR, you're not going to notice it. It's when you're playing on your ultra-wide monitor, everything's shifted. You you go to put your cursor over a planet and it pops up, the little line coming from the planet is always like an inch to the left of it going up. It's just weird.
Yeah, that is what I was seeing.
Yeah. That's an ultra wide monitor issue that they've never bothered to fix. So
that's not an Odyssey thing at all.
No, it's following us from Horizons.
It's inherited from the base game.
Yes.
So that's funny because like right now, when I record the podcast, I throw it into windowed mode and I run 1440 by 1920. No, the other way around. So it's like I have screen space on either side, but it's like it's like a 4x3 is what I'm playing the video game game in, and then I have like my show notes and crap on the sides.
You need more monitors. So man.
I don't, because when I'm not doing the podcast, I'm in VR, and then what am I going to do with other monitors?
Bask
your pictures in the hardware when the rest of us do. Duh. What else do you have more monitors for?
I shared a picture. I think it's fine. Okay, whatever. You guys can't shame me into buying monitors. Has anybody else got more comments about Phase 4? I haven't even played. I just logged in, and it sounds like
I did just notice one thing they changed about the ships. You know how on the SRV, when you land on top of a ship and you fly over like crevices and stuff in the ship, and it's like they're not there, you just kind of fly over them. I got on top of the Corvette as my little dude, and he fell down into the crevices and the big fucking holes that are out in front of the windscreen. Like you actually go down into those and walk around now.
Nice.
Okay, so much better like clipping and hitboxes and stuff.
Yeah. And I went down into where my hard points were. I couldn't see the multi-cannons back there. It's just a black hole that the flashlight couldn't seem to reach the bottom of. But you can go underneath the flaps. You can go back there.
Oh, awesome. I'm gonna go find my Corvette now. Okay, cool.
Oh, and also I shot some rocks with a railgun, and there's like this weird little graphical thing that looks like the rock just leaving the fucking planet and flying past the ship, but then the rock's still sitting there. The railgun explosions on the ground are super cool and super big.
Oh, nice.
You see on Reddit, somebody, had to test, if you shoot the ground with your gun, if it left marks, and he drew a dick in the dirt.
Oh,
nice. What else would you do?
The proper testing, of course.
I saw a commander write their name in it. I thought that's what you were going to say. I didn't see the dick one.
Yeah, somebody drew a dick, of course.
Of course.
Well,
you're just mad that he beat you to it. Don't lie.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I got nothing. I think it's like 3 weeks away or 4 weeks away that we get the actual game. So I just I got no enthusiasm at all right now for alpha.
I just want the real branch, damn it. I don't want this old stuff.
No, you want the trunk. That we get the trunk when it comes out,
right?
It's all these weird branches.
I want the finished result. I want the latest, the greatest.
Yes. I want my Panther Clipper.
But, that could lead to extreme satisfaction or extreme disappointment. So,
we'll see. There's no chance of anything in between?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, only one or the other.
It's like Dubs' love life.
Yeah. Damn. Darn. He got me, guys. Figure me out, boys. Hey, I have more arcs than Zero, you lying assholes. Where's my paint jobs
Maybe not
at?
in here, you
don't buy arcs in the alpha. They won't carry over.
Dubs.
Open the store.
Dubs talks to his game all the time.
I talk to inanimate objects every day. This isn't new.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you, Trek? You got anything else on Alpha 4? Phase 4?
I don't know how much of this I'm even going to play. I guess I will kind of experiment with weird things, but I don't think I'm going to go running missions or anything because I don't care to actually play the game. And if all we're supposed to be testing is like, do our characters come through correctly? That seems pretty thoroughly tested. I don't know. I don't have the right personality type for the beta thing. I think I kind of got it because I was doing streaming and then I didn't even do that much of it. So I don't know. I will tell you that I'm most excited about the optimizations of the render engine when they, if they really can turn that key and get things working properly. I think then I'll really know if Odyssey is going to be a ton of fun for me, because I'm thinking about the VR implementation and the way, I did one of the on-foot conflict zones and did the whole thing start to finish in VR, because I want to see, like, is it viable to do the cinema screen in your headset? Because it's a little weird to point your view around with a mouse, and I think it feels not good right now, but I'm hoping a lot of that will be alleviated by better performance, because it's a bit jittery and stuff. And I was on surfaces, especially like a conflict zone with a ton going on, and knowing that the game is fully rendering all the interiors of all the buildings, all of that going on, like my game in situations like that can get down to like 50 hertz sometimes, even on the 3080. So it's, well, I mean, but that's in VR. It's not true VR, but it is still rendering in the headset on two eyes, so there's sort of VR. So yeah, it was a heavy load for the computer, and I'm hoping that's where some of the jitteriness is coming from. But my comment is, so far the VR cinema view screen needs mouse smoothing, because being jittery like that is actually sort of hard to look at. That's my opinion. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's talk about. Okay, I scrolled to the wrong part of my notes. Okay. New machinima web series is being started. If anybody caught Lave Radio on Tuesday, or Flight Assist, the Commander Black Maze has been making the rounds talking about this. So this is a fun new thing that's going to be like a YouTube web series, in sort of inspired by Red versus Blue. If you guys watched that,
yeah. I mean, I know I've Red versus Blue. I've watched the trailer for this new series, but not the pilot yet.
Okay, so Red versus Blue is a thing from way back in the day. I think they sort of invented the genre in a sense, at least refined it. And it was sort of it was based on Halo. Apparently it's still going on, which is amazing. But it's like a
Rooster
funny
Teeth, I think, was the group that made that.
Yeah, it's like a comedy show done all within the game. And this is something that these guys wanted to do with Elite for a long, long time, and they could never get it to really work correctly without being able to be on foot. Like, it's even with the SRVs, it's still too kind of impersonal if you hear them talk about it. So here we are. We can be on foot now. They've made a trailer. There's a bunch of people involved doing voices. They're going to have guests, special guests doing other voices. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Questions and comments?
I will watch it.
Yeah.
All right. A vote of confidence from Chig.
Yeah. Let's see how they can make a sitcom out of Odyssey.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, links in the show notes. Next up, Commander Kaboom travels to Isham's Reach, 65,500 light years from Sol with no fuel scoop, and that's a total travel distance of 84,341 light years of pure madness. So, this is something that popped up onto Reddit, and this guy chronicles his journey. The basic conceit of it is he loaded the Anaconda with fuel tanks and went from carrier to carrier to carrier to make it all the way out there. And that did include a detour because he misnavigated at some point, which is why the distance is so much more than it needed to be. And he ran this all on economy mode. I guess he had that Anaconda could do about 10,000 light years in a tank on economy mode.
Yeah, loaded up all the optional internal slots with fuel tanks. And
Yeah, when I
am I the
read
only one
that,
that's not terribly impressed by this?
I was gonna jump in on that, Nurgle. When I first saw this article, I'm like, how the hell did he do that? Oh, he went from gas station to gas station. I was like, how many times can I call the fuel rats before they quit coming to save me? How far could I go on that trip is what I was thinking. But I mean, I guess he's a masochist if he just wants to do that. But yeah, I wasn't incredibly impressed either. Sorry, Mr. Kaboom.
I mean, there's a serious time commitment involved here because on economy mode, I can only imagine how many jumps 84,000 light years was. I mean, that had to be thousands of jumps.
Yeah.
But he literally went from gas station to gas station.
Yeah, I mean, finding the gas station.
It did.
When you can go 10,000 light years on a tank of gas, how much planning does it take? I mean, 10,000 light years is a long ways. Yeah, with the DSSA or just random people out in the black even. I don't know. You can find carriers relatively easily and have if he had 1,000 light year range on the tank, it becomes a challenge, or a 500 light year on a single tank, then it starts getting scary as hell. But when you got 10,000 light years to find something, I don't know. And the fuel rats are a thing, so I don't know. I don't want to.
Okay, well, he didn't call the fuel rats, but nobody
didn't, but he could,
and now somebody's done it.
Patience and determination is what it is.
That's exactly what it is, and a little bit of masochicism.
No, could you imagine a fuel rat shows up? It's like, oh yeah, I've got I don't know how many tons of fuel. Can you fill me up?
I'm carrying 400 tons of fuel.
I'm curious how his jump range changed over the course of doing jumps. If he had that much fuel in there, all that
probably
tonnage,
probably not that much.
Range. You don't think so?
So I mean, because it weighs the same as any other cargo. So what's the best jump range on a fully laden Anaconda?
But a fully laden Anaconda, you don't have all. You make a lightweight Conda and fill it with cargo bays and then carry cargo. I have no idea how much it would drop. Quite a bit, wouldn't it?
I bet his minimum jump range was still somewhere in the 40s, assuming he had fully, Explorer Conda engineered it.
Okay,
I'd be curious to see the build. Does he link the build?
I would love to see the build. Yeah.
Dubs, go make a build for us. Or not?
I'm scanning through the Reddit page to see. I was actually just pulling up Coriolis, and I'm not going to do the whole build, but let's just throw cargo racks in here. Cargo. I'm just going to add as much. Fill all the slots that I can with cargo racks. It has that one military slot.
Gotcha.
Each jump was 48 light years, he says in the Reddit post.
That's on economy? Wow. Okay, so just the basic Anaconda, I A-rated in grade 5 the frameshift drive, and then threw a few cargo racks in it to give it some difference between fully loaded and not fully loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And so unladen is about 32 light years and laden is about 26. So right there, I mean, you're changing 20%. It by at least 20 or 25%.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would change over the course of it, I guess.
But I don't understand the if he on economical, you're doing all those short little. I'm confused.
But the amount of fuel you use on a jump is based on the mass management or the ratio of the mass management of your frameshift drive to the mass of your ship and how far you're jumping. So if you're making small jumps in a lightweight ship with a whopping big frameshift drive, you're just going to sip gas the whole way because you're not going to burn very much at all.
Okay, right, because it's not linear. It's not
No.
linear to how much fuel is consumed versus the distance. If you're going a small trip, it's using almost no fuel, no matter how much your car, like your mass affects your fuel usage a lot less in that case. Okay,
Right.
Well, I mean,
get it.
that
So
was
yeah, it
another
might not
side
have
of
changed
this.
very much.
Is he was also going to go farther than anybody else has gone because he was just going to fly in super cruise beyond that with his giant fuel tank. He could go in super cruise for like
Now that
a
is
day and a half or something.
Yeah.
that I want to know how far out he got.
Yeah, I think he says on there how far that he estimated he could go and get back.
And get
he
back,
doesn't
right.
want to die out there. He doesn't want to have to.
From here, I'm super cruising off the edge of the galaxy in order to firmly set a record, I assume, for the farthest distance traveled from Sol without a fuel scoop. By my calculations, I can travel approximately 90 light years beyond Isham's reach in super cruise, about 16 days of continuous travel. This will likely take me a few months, with leaving the game on while I do other things now and then, and I should have enough fuel left to jump back in one piece. So he hasn't done that part of the journey yet. Magnificent.
I want to know what happens with that. That interests me.
All right. We will watch your career with great interest.
Kaboom.
Wow.
All right, Commander Kaboom, you're on it. Good luck. I hope this is an alt for you. Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's hey Chig, do you want to do a Chig chat this week?
Sure. I was going to get into this whole VR thing. I was comparing. Hey, go ahead. Just do Chig chat. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I got to find the banjo one, right? Let's see. Which one was it? Oh man, what did I call that one?
I don't know. You don't let us in on your secrets.
How would you know, right?
Yeah, you don't. We're
maybe
not
this
privy
one?
to the important stuff.
Chat. Oh, we're gonna get our chat up off in here. I tell you what, boy, it's gonna be time. I tell you what, this Chick Chat. Where the cheese at?
That really is a great one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a really good one. No, we played D&D Sunday night this last Sunday, and Ty was there too. And at the end of it, he was asking about the Quest 2 if we had tried it, and both me and Dubs have now bought a Quest 2. And I was hoping to get into a discussion with him on this a little bit, but I'm gonna say earlier this week I brought up the Quest 2 because they've got AirLink working now on the Quest 2, so you don't have to do the remote desktop thing and sideload anything. You don't have to do any of that. You just, if your software's at version 28 or whatever, you can literally play the headset wirelessly with your PC right now. So I had both here, and I actually put in some contacts so that it was a fair comparison between the two headsets, because my Rift S I have prescription lenses for. I have to wear my glasses in the Quest. So instead of doing that, I put in contacts and took out my prescription lenses and played the two headsets. Played Elite Dangerous for a little while and played a couple other games just to kind of get a feel for, if the Quest 2 is, a legitimate good upgrade. My verdict is no. If you've got a Rift S, unless you really, really like the wireless, the Rift S, and I've got the premium head strap for the Quest 2. Yeah, for the Quest 2. So it's not that the Quest 2 the strap that comes with it is garbage. I mean, it's really just
hot trash.
Yeah, it is. It's shit. You need to upgrade that strap. But going between the two, the Rift S is a lot more comfortable. Now keep in mind, I was playing I didn't tether the Quest 2 to my PC, so there was a little bit of jankiness with this AirLink stuff. So you're not staying at the steady 80 or 90 FPS that the Quest 2 can run at. That there you can tell that you're wireless.
And it's a compressed image too, right?
Yes, it runs. It runs okay if you really want wireless. Now on room scale games, that being wireless is freaking glorious compared to having the cable coming off of it. And I've played a lot of different VR games and stuff. But as far as visually, the Quest 2 definitely screen door effect is even less noticeable on the Quest 2 than it is on the S, and less so than it was on the CV1. Those are the 3 headsets I've owned, and I've used a Vive and a Vive Pro back in the day. So those are the only headsets I've ever used. So I'd really like to know people who have a Reverb or what are the other headsets out there. I'd love to know what kind of quality you're getting from those, especially if you've played with an Oculus, because I'd like to get out of the Oculus because and it's not I'm against Facebook or anything, but I think that it's stupid that you have to tie it to Facebook unless you buy a commercial Quest 2, and that costs $800, so $500 more, and then you don't have to have a Facebook account. So
and
so that's
like
how much a
200
Facebook account is worth.
Yeah,
and
apparently.
$200 a year or something like that.
After the first year, it's like $180 a year
What?
for support. Yeah,
to not connect to Facebook. Yeah.
If you just want to, but it's more geared towards businesses and stuff. It's a commercial thing, and businesses always are forced to pay more money for stuff. But you could own it as an individual rather than getting a $300 headset. You could spend $800 and then $180 a year. Then you don't have to have Facebook. So I don't know. It just everything they do is a little bit sketchy. But that's kind of my review of that. Is I would wait definitely for like the next Quest, because that's the direction they're not going to do any more riffs. It's all going to be Quests going forward until they change their mind and it's something else entirely. But I definitely the wireless is not 100% there yet. But it's still pretty damn impressive.
In your setup, is there any room for improvement, like with your Wi-Fi router placement? Is that as good as it could be?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm really good on that. I'm wired into my PC, and the router is this room is not very big, like 12 by 14, and it's in the room. So yeah,
that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah. That definitely isn't an issue. And it ran good. If I wasn't going on with the Rift S and then logging out and then hopping into the Quest, I don't even know if I'd have noticed it. But when it's side by side comparison, it was definitely noticeable. The FPS wasn't quite there. The visuals were, the screens in the Quest 2 are very, very nice. But then again, the comfort of the headset, the Rift S is, to me, it was miles more comfortable.
Yeah,
so
and I have
play
like
for
aftermarket
hours.
Pads and stuff on my Rift S.
Yeah, Rift S,
already,
I can sit in that for hours. The Quest 2 right now, I don't think I could play for much more than an hour at a time. So
interesting.
I feel bad for the guy who developed the virtual desktop after he was kind of shunned by Oculus all this time, and then they come out with their own.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they like finally let him into the store, and then like 3 or 4 weeks later, they're like, "Oh, and by the way, fuck you."
Yeah. Just another reason. He
made money on me, so.
Yeah, he made money on me.
Yeah,
I own 3 of their headsets right now. So
yeah, I had a pretty good experience with the wireless performance, except for like the occasional stuttering if the network was loaded by other things like Discord. So I think your wireless network could have a lot to do with your wireless performance.
I'm guessing too. And like I said, with it being side by side, just a side by side comparison like I was doing, I'm not sure I would have noticed it as much without literally. I would wear one for about 10 minutes, then I'd do the other one for about 10 minutes. Then I'd go back to the other one, and going back and forth, it was definitely noticeable.
Yeah, and I have the actual Oculus Link cable too, and it definitely changes the way it works. But without doing a side-by-side comparison, I'm happy with the performance of the wireless. And that's even with the work around wireless desktop, not the official Oculus way to go. I still haven't updated mine because I haven't actually put the headset on since they released that firmware update.
Yeah, 28.
The only thing I wish is, like you said, it was more comfortable. Like I have the stock factory Rift S headset, and it is 100 times more comfortable because it's not pressing against my damn face. Like
compared to the Quest 2.
Yeah.
The Quest 2 is ugh. Yeah, even with the premium headset, it's not as comfortable.
I think I got the Elite strap too, and I don't feel like it was a big upgrade on comfort. It was an upgrade on quality for sure.
Big upgrade on putting it on, taking it on and off for sure.
Well, Manitic said he uses like some different type of strap to where the headset's supported by the band. I think similar to the way the Rift S, if I remember what he said properly. And then the headset just hangs like the Rift S did, so that might be a worthwhile upgrade.
Like it changes the weight?
No, it doesn't change. It just changes the way it mounts to your head. Like the way the Quest 2 is, like it presses the Quest 2 against your face, and then the strap just pulls it tight against your face to hold it in place. Whereas with the Rift S, like the halo grabs your head, and then the headset just kind of hangs in front of you.
Okay. I get you. So it's a rigid strap instead of being an elastic strap.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the way the Quest is.
I think this is, obviously, I have played, I don't know how far I am through Half-Life. I sort of put it down for a minute, but I'll pick it up at some point. Half-Life Alyx, and playing that with the wire attached to me sucks. So I can't wait, but at the same time, I really want to wait for some next generation thing. Like I think a headset that's wireless should have a dedicated device. Like I should install like a USB 3 thing that creates its own ad hoc network that only goes to the headset. I shouldn't be fussing about with it. I mean, that was Facebook's big thing. Like they didn't want to allow this to happen and have it be a bad experience for somebody because their network equipment wasn't up to it. So just pass out the network equipment, charge people $150 or whatever it takes to make it actually, and then if it works really good, it'll be easily worth that. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Easily.
Yeah.
For a true, good, high quality wireless experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I want like a dedicated tight beam to my headset from the computer. I don't want to think about my house Wi-Fi.
That's what one of these other companies offers. I can't remember if it's HTC Vive or the Samsung. They've got
the Vive.
Yeah, it's got a dedicated wireless
But
dongle.
that's only for a headset where the headset itself is not as good as what you can buy today. There's nobody competing in this market, and I think I can't wait for that to change because like I was all about this Rift S when it came out, and I'm trying so hard for some other product to come so I don't have to buy another thing from Facebook. Not because I think that company shouldn't exist, but I don't want to be in their store anymore. Like I want to be able to play Steam games without having the Oculus SDK come up. Because there's so much stuff that like I can add plugins to my Steam games, but they only work if I run Steam VR, and then I'm running two compositors on top of each other.
Yeah.
Guess what? You have to buy a 3080 to make that run correctly.
I mean, my 1080 Ti handles it just fine.
No. I'm sorry. Like I can play Half-Life Alyx in the Oculus compositor only if I want to. But if I want to put like OVR toolkit or whatever so I can float Windows on my controllers, then you have to actually load Steam VR and not run it from Oculus. Oculus still runs because the headsets will not work just directly to Steam VR. And Facebook isn't going to let go of those keys. If they did, I'd be like, oh, sure, buy a Facebook headset. Like, that's fine. But they won't let go of they won't let it run on OpenVR. So I'm not going to buy another headset that doesn't run on OpenVR. I'm just not. Like, you just can't, a standard like that exists in the world. You can't ignore it and be a legitimate product, in my opinion. So
hopefully they change
my line
that
in the sand. I just think
I agree.
HP or like whatever, whoever is the next thing where they make like a consumer grade headset that isn't ridiculously expensive and has wireless. That's going to be my thing, and it's going to be an open VR headset, and it'll just natively work on Steam VR, and that'll be it. Bye Oculus, or whatever. I mean, Oculus will have their market of standalone, not PC tethered headsets, and anyway.
Yeah,
I'm about to rant, so I'm gonna cut myself right off. Hey,
all right.
So we're gonna wrap up the show with a couple of community questions, and guess what? They both came from Manitouk. So way to go, dude! You're the man. Here come Manitouk's questions. So for the panel, at what point did you stop looking at mission level, whether it was dangerous or elite, or what? Oh sorry.
Or whatnot when running BGS missions.
Yeah, right, exactly. I wanted to read his question really cool and I failed. So I'm sorry, Manitouk. Now it's my fault. I'm going to shut up. What do you guys think?
I'll be honest with you. When I first started playing and stuff, by the time I realized that there was a level to the missions, I was beyond where it mattered. So I never even noticed.
Awesome.
So yeah.
For
he
me,
actually didn't notice until he read the question.
Yeah, I'm like, missions have levels? Yeah.
For me, it depends on what the mission is. If I'm picking up something to kill a handful of pirates or something like that, and I'm in one of my BGS mission runner ships, I'm going to look, because if it's elite, that ship's not engineered to do that, and I'll either skip it or go get a combat ship. So it kind of depends on what the mission is too.
But so when did you learn to do that? Is I guess the question, right? Because
early
so you're
on.
saying okay, you noticed it early, because I'm thinking I'm not sure when I noticed the mission level. Like Chig was saying, it definitely was at a point where at this point I only pay attention to whether it's a wing mission or not, because the only time I care is if it's like a combat assassination. I will look if it's a wing mission. And if it's a wing mission, I got to bring my Corvette. Otherwise, if it's not a wing mission, like I can fly it in probably almost anything, because I just don't have any ships. I don't have any ships that aren't good at combat.
And the truth is that I think that question really only applies to combat missions, doesn't it?
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because if it's a courier mission, it still affects what they're sending against you, but you can avoid them.
Yeah, you can avoid them. So it really only applies to a combat mission. And then, it depends on what ship I'm flying and whether or not it's a wing mission.
I stopped paying attention as soon as I had engineering unlocked and was using it. That's when it sort of overrode all the experience requirements.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Get more hit points. It don't matter.
Yeah, and I went for engineers pretty early on, so that's why it just never really, it never dawned on me. I was mining and doing engineering before I ever got really into doing too many missions.
Huh. That's an interesting little side question too. Like you said, I got for engineering pretty early on. I guess I probably did too, but I didn't think of it that way at the time. But now, like, interacting with people in this Discord and in the community, like there's people all the time where they've been playing for quite a while, but then they'll be like, oh, I haven't, what?
Who?
What? What's up? Can you guys not hear me?
I hear you, Trax. I think Chig's having issues.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to, Chig, come back. All right. Let us know if you're back. Anyway, I sort of lost my train of thought there, but there are people who have played the game definitely longer than I had and aren't very much into engineering, and they maybe only have one or two of the first ones unlocked, and that's always interesting to me, because obviously, like, it's a personal choice about how much you want to grind. Because there is a bit of grind not only in unlocking them, but then being able to do the engineering. And for me, like, I just can't stand to fly any non-engineered ships now. I'm too messed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't.
I know
leave
several
port.
of you are like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't leave the port without an engineering plan.
Yeah.
Huh.
And even then, it's usually ferried over to the engineering location.
Right, right. Yeah, I do good planning, building a ship. I'll do a good plan where I figure out, okay, which modules should I actually steal from one of my ships I'm not using, and then plan out what can I actually do just from remote workshop, and then maybe there's only 2 or 3 engineers I actually have to hit to set special effects or something, and I get pretty efficient about it. I map it all out in ED Engineer, make sure I got all my roles all set.
Yeah, for me early on, it was engineering. To me, that was like leveling up so I could go do anything I wanted. So I don't fly anything not fully engineered at all.
Yeah. Okay, question 2. Should fighters be allowed in military-only slots? This is one change I would like to see in Odyssey. So I asked him for clarification, actually. So he's specifically meaning, like, if a slot is military and it's like a size 5 or higher, then you should be allowed to put a fighter in it. Because apparently they're excluded from that now, which is a little bit bonkers. I guess I'm revealing my answer.
Yeah.
It's military. Why didn't a fighter go there?
Yeah.
Its purpose is military in use. It's fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that they weren't allowed in those slots. I never noticed.
That's because nobody uses size 5 fighters, and there are no size 6 military slots.
Nobody uses size 5 fighters?
I mean, none of us do. I don't think Chick does. Do you?
Don't judge
Who wastes their time with a single bay?
I think I do.
Really? And which ship?
Possibly. Hold on. Let me click on this little button here and see what's in my Corvette. It might be a single fighter right now.
Oh, man.
No,
I'm
lied.
disappointed.
So the only ship I ever put a fighter on is my Corvette. So yeah, I did put a dual bay, but I don't use a lot of fighters. Okay, so the only things that currently fit in a military slot are shield cell banks, hull reinforcements, module reinforcements, the meta alloy and guardian versions of those. That's it.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, allow fighter bays. I totally agree. Obviously, that's a military thing. And I noticed kind of a long time ago in building ships that you can't put your shield generator there. I think that's fully bullshit.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of... I'll tell you, if the Viper 4 would be a better explorer than the Cobra 3 if you could put a shield generator in the military slot. But it has that military slot, and that's what holds it back.
I just noticed something weird in the Alpha. I'm sitting here messing around in the shipyard on foot, and you know how when you do your livery, like your ship name is on your little icon. The Imperial Clipper that I have that has a name says Empire Trader on the side of my ship where my icon is, where it would say the ship name.
Huh.
Yeah, that's the code name for that ship.
Yeah.
It's like the game code, I mean. Like how the Crate Phantom was called Crate Light in the game.
Yeah, and my chieftain says Type X. Very interesting.
That's awesome.
Okay, back to the question real quick.
Yeah,
I would go as far as to say you can put an SRV in a military slot now that we are going to be fighting on planets.
Not unless we get different versions of the SRVs.
But the SRV has guns on it, and you could drive it and kill people with it. So I'd say, especially, yes, we definitely need more SRV types, but I still think that should be allowed in a military slot in Odyssey.
I think we should be able to put those dropship compartments like you have for the on-foot conflict zones. So we should be able to drop a bunch of people out of the back from those harnesses in a military slot.
I agree. I think there should be a slot that's a med bay that all of you spawn at when you die.
Even better idea.
Yeah.
just a lot of things. More options for outfitting our ships is always good, in my opinion.
Yeah, but to get back to the main thrust of it, fighters and fighters, especially shield generators, like that's bonkers. That's not considered military. Give me a break. Give me a break. You got to name it something different. If you really wanted to code something into the game where you could only put like hull reinforcements and shield cell banks, you can't say military. There's so much other stuff that's military. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
Now I'm pissed off.
Yeah, sorry. This is what happens when you do two podcasts. And
thanks, Manitook. It's all your fault.
Thanks a lot.
Off tracks. God, that guy, I tell you. All right.
No, that's cool. This question straight up points out to me that was. I did not realize that wasn't a thing. It's bizarre. Okay, now I've got nothing else. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do a little show wrap up, and then I'm gonna ask you for a cheese. Okay, just heads up. All right. Hey, everybody, if you've enjoyed the podcast, please give us a rating and review on whatever app you're listening to it on, or on YouTube or whatever, and tick bells and stuff. Tell people about the show. It's helpful. Otherwise, how are they going to figure it out? And otherwise, you're basically just like hoarding it for yourself, and that's extremely selfish and not very cool. So you can also join us on Discord at discord.io/loosescrews, and check out loosescrewsed.com, where there is links to all of our stuff and a merch store where you can get mugs and hoodies and t-shirts and other weird stuff like that. And it's a ton of fun, and it's really, really great. I am currently just in the bar in the Odyssey Alpha watching this NPC moonwalk backwards against the wall. She's been walking backwards in place for at least a half an hour. And when I walk around her eyes follow me, but she doesn't stop moonwalking backwards.
Like one of those paintings.
Yeah, it's like one of those paintings. The eyes are following me, but the legs are moving. Mm-hmm. It's really fun. The music's wild in here, by the way. Hey, Chig, do you have a cheese for me?
Yeah, I got a cheese that I actually don't really like.
What?
I know.
Wait.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's everybody's super stinky, nasty cheese, Limburger cheese. It actually, fuck you.
Oh, sorry.
I'll eat it. I mean, I have eaten it. My wife, knows that I love all cheeses, so she'll grab me a surprise cheese, and sometimes she grabs Limburger. I'm like, oh, I got to eat this.
It's so funny. This guy loves cheese so much. He's like, I don't really like this cheese. I mean, I'll eat it. I'm not a monster.
But no, I mean, Limburger cheese, it does really, really stink. There was actually a study that showed that like malaria-carrying mosquitoes were equally attracted to the smell of Limburger cheese and the smell of human feet. So if that gives you an idea, that it really is not an appetizing smell, and it comes through when you eat it. Yeah, you can't avoid that.
You mean it comes through your skin? What do you mean by that?
The smell comes through the flavor. Yeah, you can't help but the flavor is affected by the smell of the cheese. As you're eating it,
yes,
it's this stale kind of taste to it because that's what it smells like, and it's not a pleasant cheese. But if you want to try something different and literally eat the cheese that Looney Tunes and shit had back in the day, they show it as the stinky Limburger cheese. Give it a try because it really is stinky Limburger cheese. So stay cheesy, everybody.
All right, that's totally what I was going to say too. I was like, it's the Bugs Bunny cheese.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay, everybody, that's going to do it. Thanks for joining me, Chigs. I pluralized you.
One? Yeah.
I was thinking you were saying about people not sharing the show and that they're hoarding it to themselves. What if instead of hoarding it to themselves, they're just ashamed that they listen to it and they don't want people to know? That's not
Well,
good.
that's a lot harder of an
bro.
emotional wall for me to work through as I try to get them to leave a review and share the show with friends. So thanks a lot for that.
Being ashamed and embarrassed is our job, not theirs.
But we do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining me. Thank you, Chigs, Dubses, Datas, Nurgles. I'm Commander Jantrax, and this is the loosest and screwiest podcast in the. Oh yeah, that would have been good, huh? Well, I blew it. Anyway,
thank you for having us, Daddy Trax.
Oh man, when did this start? What is this? What you were all waiting for me to show up for the podcast, and I became Daddy? What is that about?
Yes. Thank you, Daddy.
I am most displeased with this turn of events. Okay, thanks. Stay loose, stay screwy, fly that way, probably.